89 to 94, they are all the same. What I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna remove the water pump seal. But in order to remove the water pump seal, the KIPS has to come out because this is part of the secondary case where the bearing is inside there. So I gotta see how to disconnect that. Hopefully it's not too difficult. Okay, first step is gonna be to remove. You may not have to remove the brake pedal, but I'm gonna refinish it anyway. So I'm gonna remove that. Remove your kickstart lever. I usually make a little whiteout mark where I know where to put it back on later, so I don't have to fiddle around with it. Orientation mark. Clutch cable has to come off. KIPS has to come off because this inner case has to come off. Water hose must come off. So we're gonna get started now. This is not gonna be a step-by-step process, and this video is by all means not for a beginner. One thing that I forgot to mention earlier was you're gonna have to drain your oil first before you even begin to attempt to take this cover off, because if you don't, oil is gonna be all over the place. Also, you're gonna need a pan to catch the fluid that comes out of this water hoses once you loosen those. I've already taken off my brake lever, as you can see, and my Kickstarter. I'll explain how the arm comes off from your KIPS actuator arm, and your clutch cable is also going to have to come off. You can begin to drain your coolant by loosening this. This will drain your coolant, most of it anyway, so that you don't have coolant all over the doggone place once you begin to. Let me take off your radiator cap, and then this thing will start raging. You can kind of control the flow by playing with your radiator cap. That way you won't have as much fluid getting it over as much of everywhere. Okay, you guys get the idea. All of the pieces that I'm going to refinish, I just set them out, put them together, and use my trusty wire wheel and refinish them accordingly. Okay, once you unscrew the KIPS cover, it just slides off like this. Okay, this is the KIPS actuator arm right underneath here. Be careful not to break this boot. That's what you have to get off to detach the KIPS actuator arm from the KIPS. Okay, I'll show you how to do that, but what I wanted to show you first is when you take your clutch cable off, be sure to remember your orientation of this arm here to how it is on the case. So it's probably gonna slide on right in this position right here. The reason why I say that is Kawasaki is funny, and I'll show you why later. Aloha. You detach this, you want to hold this shaft, because on the bottom is a little pin that holds this kind of in place. If this is too tight and you loosen it, you're going to break that pin. To loosen that screw, remember now, it is reverse tread. reverse tread. So instead of turning it left, you're gonna turn it right. It's reverse tread. Now mine was super extra tight, so the plier didn't hold it. But as you can see, the tread is a reverse tread. Don't do it the other way. You're gonna be sorry. You're gonna break a lot of parts in here. This is the part that I really was kind of worried about. And it's a good thing that I did some research. Right, reverse tread. Aloha. So after this part, you just kind of move it on the side like this. You'll be alright. When you put it back, there's a notch. Find its way back. You say again, use pliers, vice grip. Try not to mar the shaft, but if you mar the shaft, don't really worry about it too much. The boot is gonna cover your stupidity. Look at that. Kawasaki was smart enough to put it on the doggone arm. Which way that screw is to loosen. Amazing. Aloha. Next step is you gotta take off the impeller. 8mm. Take that impeller off. Mine was on tight, so I had to use a air gun. There's other ways to do it, but the air gun is much easier. Loosen these 2, 4, 6, and take off your clutch cover. Remember, you have dowels in place that hold it straight. You see the dowel there, and the dowel there. You should have 2 of them. So inside here is the water pump drive gear, and the water pump drive gear is rolling on that bearing right there. See that bearing right there? I think that's the one I'm going to change, that bearing and another bearing inside here. Oh, don't watch out now. And right there's the water pump seal. You pawn out the 2 seals. The fat one goes on the bottom and the skinny one on top. You see my friend Eric? I had to enlist his help to help me change this seal because I couldn't get the impeller out without the air gun. Now we're gonna press that new bearing seal inside. Okay, well we had a problem with taking out this bearing because there's no way to get to it on the other side. That's the one that's the power drive bearing. You might as well change that if you're changing your bearings. To get it out, what you have to do is you have to use a propane torch like this, and then you heat it up on this side, and then you just tap gently and it will fall out. Trust me. When I did an inspection of the bearing that was in there, that bearing was no good. The bearing is worn out, so yours probably is worn out too. If you're changing your bearings, you might as well change that one. That's what it's going to look like once you got it all back together. The dowel pin has to go right inside of that. Not the dowel pin, but I guess the pin that drives the power valve goes right back in this slot right here. There's a little washer that goes underneath here as well. Just repeat the process when you're putting everything back, and I'll see you when I'm done.